Imagine this: February 26th, 2008, Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. The busiest time of the day, people are rushing out of offices. Students are heading to their favorite corner spot. Moms are picking up their usual order after school pickup. This is the golden hour for any coffee shop. The time when the line goes out the door. The time when the cash registers don't stop ringing. And then thousands of people walk up to their local Starbucks and see a sign on the door: "We're closed for the evening." Not one store, not 10, not 100. All 7,099 Starbucks locations across America, at exactly the same time, on a Tuesday evening during rush hour. A woman in Chicago just stares at the door. A college student in Los Angeles refreshes the Starbucks app, confused. A businessman in New York calls his assistant, "Is Starbucks closed? What's going on?" Journalists start calling their editors. Shareholders are refreshing stock prices. Competitors are smiling. And everyone, everywhere, is asking the same question: what on earth is happening to Starbucks? But to truly understand this moment, we need to go back 8 years, the year 2000. Starbucks is booming. Over 3,500 locations worldwide. Revenue growing every single quarter. Howard Schultz, the man who built all of this, made a decision. He stepped down as CEO. The company was growing. Everything seemed fine. He trusted his leadership team. He wanted to focus on the bigger picture. And the new team had one mission: grow faster. 1 new store every day. Then 2 stores a day. Then 3. By 2007, Starbucks was opening an average of 7 new stores every single day. 7 stores per day. Sounds incredible, right? But here is what was happening inside those stores. To open faster, they simplified everything. The beautiful Italian espresso machines, replaced with automatic push-button machines, faster, easier. But the rich smell of freshly ground coffee, gone. The unique, cozy store designs, replaced with one standard template. Copy, paste, repeat, efficient. But the warm neighborhood feeling, gone. The baristas who remembered your name and your order, now they were just trying to keep up with the line. The personal human connection, gone. Starbucks was no longer a coffee experience. It was becoming a coffee factory. In 2007, Schultz sat down and wrote a memo. A private internal letter to the CEO. He called it the commoditization of the Starbucks experience. He wrote, "We have sacrificed the soul of Starbucks for the sake of growth. The stores no longer have the romance and theater of the original Starbucks." That memo was supposed to stay private. It leaked to the press. The whole world read it. Starbucks stock dropped immediately. And then 2008 arrived. The global financial crisis hit like a wave. Suddenly, nobody wanted to spend $5 on a latte. People were cutting every expense they could. And at exactly this moment, McDonald's launched McCafe. Good coffee, fast service, half the price. Starbucks stock dropped 42% in 1 year. They closed 600 stores. They laid off thousands of employees. The company was losing millions every single week. The board of directors made a call: "Howard, we need you back." And in January 2008, Howard Schultz walked back through the door as CEO. The first thing he did was visit stores, quietly, unannounced. And what he saw broke his heart. Baristas rushing through orders without eye contact. Espresso shots pulled incorrectly, too fast, too bitter. The steam wands on milk frothers, never properly cleaned. Stores that smelled like burnt milk instead of fresh coffee. The problem wasn't the financial crisis. The problem wasn't McDonald's. The real problem was this: Starbucks had forgotten what made it Starbucks. Schultz gathered his leadership team. He presented one idea: close every single store in America, all at once, for 3 hours, on a Tuesday evening. The room went silent. His CFO said, "Howard, that's $6 million in lost revenue." His PR team said, "The media will destroy us." His investors said, "You cannot be serious." Schultz looked at them and said, "If we cannot make a perfect cup of espresso, we have no right to be open." On February 26, 2008, at 5:30 p.m., every Starbucks in America turned off its open sign. And inside those 7,099 stores, 135,000 baristas stood together. They learned how to properly dose the espresso grounds, how to apply exactly the right pressure when tamping, how to watch the espresso flow, not too fast, not too slow, how to steam milk to exactly the right temperature, how to pour it with care. But more than the technical skills, they were reminded of something deeper. Why Starbucks existed in the first place. Not to sell coffee, but to create a moment in someone's day. A moment of warmth, of comfort, of connection. That 3-hour training session was not just about espresso. It was a reset of the entire culture. Now here is where it gets really interesting. Schultz could have handled this so differently. He could have sent a company-wide email with new guidelines. He could have rolled out an online training module. He could have quietly retrained stores one region at a time, with zero media attention. All of those options would have been cheaper, safer, less risky. But he chose something completely different. He chose a public, symbolic, costly gesture. And this is one of the most powerful concepts in leadership. It is called symbolic leadership. The idea is simple but profound. In moments of crisis, people don't need memos. They don't need strategy documents. They don't need town hall meetings. They need to see you act. And the action has to hurt a little. Because that is how people know you mean it. Think about it from the employee's perspective. If your CEO sends an email saying quality matters, you might believe it, or you might not. But if your CEO closes 7,000 stores and loses $6 million to prove that quality matters, you believe it. There is no question anymore, no ambiguity, no corporate speak, just a clear, undeniable signal. 3 rules of symbolic leadership. Rule 1. The gesture must cost something real. Free gestures send no signal. Schultz lost $6 million in 3 hours. That is a signal nobody could ignore. Rule 2. The gesture must be visible. Those closed doors were seen by millions of customers. The story ran on every news channel. The action became the message. Rule 3. The gesture must connect to your core values. Closing stores for the sake of coffee quality is perfectly aligned with everything Starbucks claims to stand for. It was authentic, and people felt that. So, what happened after that Tuesday? In the weeks that followed, customer satisfaction scores started climbing. Baristas reported feeling proud of their work again. Store managers said the energy had completely shifted. Within 12 months, Starbucks stock had risen by 143%. The company returned to profitability. New stores were opening again, but this time with intention. And most importantly, people started talking about Starbucks differently. Not as a struggling chain, not as a corporate machine, but as a brand that had the courage to stop everything and choose quality over convenience. That Tuesday evening in February 2008 was the moment zero for Starbucks. The moment where everything could have collapsed, and the moment where everything began again. And the lesson I want you to take from this: when a business loses its identity, the answer is rarely 1,000 small fixes. Sometimes the most powerful thing a leader can do is make one loud, clear, courageous decision. One moment that says to your team, your customers, your competitors, "We know who we are, and we are not willing to compromise on that." That is what a moment zero looks like. That is what leadership looks like. Thank you so much for watching. If this story gave you something to think about, please subscribe. Every single week, I bring you one moment from business history that changed everything. One story, one lesson, one moment zero. I'll see you in the next one.